This next game, Chess Kids, comes from the super secret Fun Master Mike files. Wait, I'm just being informed that it's not going to be so secret anymore now that it's on YouTube. Oh well, my main job is to get you better and to make you laugh. So let's take a look at the big idea. Black is one of the premier chess teachers in the USA, former world top 20 player Gregory Kaidanov, and he's going to show you how to make a piece go from 0 to hero. Take a look at Black's position. There's very clearly one black minor piece that's not doing so hot, and that would be this bishop. Black has actually declined the queen's gambit, and sometimes when you form this triangle of pawns, kids get really freaked out that this bishop on the light squares is never going to get out. But we're going to break him out of jail, and Gregory starts out with the move b6. In fact, you might already be guessing, but this is the hero, right? It's the 0, it's the hero, right? Not just a clever saying. Okay, now, how does white respond? Well, white plays the move e4. We're just going to make a couple of moves here. A bunch of captures happen, and now the bishop starts to sneak out. Of course, this pawn on c6 needed defense, okay? Now, white threatens a little cheeky checkmate over here on the king's side, and Gregory stops that checkmate. And we're going to make a couple more moves because I really want to get to the part where the bishop becomes the hero. Now, Gregory plays this move f5. That does give white an outpost, but if we get the queen off this diagonal, we might get our bishop aimed at the white king side. And I have no idea why my voice is going down. Some sort of dramatic effect or something. Okay, now the queen has to keep guarding the knight on e5, because the knight on e5 is under a lot of stress. So the queen went straight back, keeping an eye on the protection of this knight. But now c5, that loosens the anchor of this knight, and you better not take, because that is going to cost you a piece after bishop takes knight. So white needs some defense of those dark squares, and white plays bishop to b2. Now we had a quick capture, we had a takes, we had a rook coming to the center, we had this rook moving, and now we get to look at Gregory's really cool and really cheeky idea. So the first thing he does, now that this bishop is lined up with white's king side, he threatens checkmate. Does he really expect his grandmaster opponent to fall into the checkmate after queen takes g2? No. But what he's trying to do is to create weaknesses. Sometimes you make threats that you know are going to be stopped. However, in the stopping of the threat, you create some sort of hole or weakness. Now, white should probably play f3 to block this bishop, but instead, white played the move g3. Now the computer actually says this move is just as good as f3, but I don't know, because computers don't understand fear like humans. Now this bishop is diving right through the white king side like a seatbelt, like a laser. Now, this queen has just come to g5. Remember Black's last move? The queen traveled to g5. Now watch what she does. She goes all the way back. What is Gregory doing? Why is a grandmaster going forward and backward? Well, he's rerouting to make a battery because of this weakness. A couple more moves, rook comes over, queen comes to c7, pawn comes forward, and what does Gregory do? Just totally ignores the pawn, and he takes the knight. That clears out this square for his queen. So when white takes back, queen c6, and look at this queen, she's come around the world. Remember, she went to g5, back to d8, around to c7, up to c6, and this bishop, we began our video with this bishop having no possibility of parole. Now, not only is the bishop out of jail, the bishop is a very productive member of society. We have checkmates coming on g2, we got a checkmate coming on h1, and there's not really a lot that white can do to stop it. I guess white could play f3, hoping to limit the losses to a pawn, like if black takes, you know, white could actually like maybe take back or something and only lose a pawn. But you know what? Gregory would actually take the bishop, which would distract the queen, and then he would take, and white is left with all those same problems as before. Checkmate here, that's not a mate anymore, but it's still a pretty good move. So if we go back to this position, if you can find a good way to stop all of black's threats, you're probably a better player than I am. White tried bishop to e4, kind of desperation, but Gregory simply captures that bishop. He is up a piece. He's going to push the pawn and reintroduce the battery. And while white tried this move, rook to d6, Gregory just said, thank you for that. And after takes, he threw him a check. And when the king moved, all of the rooks are hanging. He just took this rook. And if you look at the chessboard, he's got a rook, a bishop, and the world's strongest knight in history versus a queen, plus this rook is threatened, plus this pawn is threatened. He didn't exactly have to sack the queen, but it's very clear to see that white's position is in shambles. Okay, so no longer a secret in my files, but I wanted to give you a great example, especially in that opening, the Queen's Gambit declined, of this bishop kind of delaying its fun, getting out a little bit later. Don't fear, though, the bishop will find a home eventually.